From an environmental standpoint, it's not at all surprising that Germany lost. What is shocking is that it sustained over 1.7 million soldiers on multiple fronts for over 4 years, as long as it did. Germany's eventual defeat revealed the ecological constraints of waging war. Germans imported around 25% of their food. That included eggs, dairy, vegetable oils, fish, meat. Much of the fodder consumed by German farm animals came from Russia, Argentina, and the United States. And high agricultural yields relied on Chilean nitrates for fertilizer. With that British blockade and the poor domestic harvests that followed, German agricultural production plummeted. So there is this massive attempt to mobilize food. Here we see this is a German placard, and what it says is "hold out," and it's a potato that has this strangely human face. I see it. And what it says is that though we are threatened by our enemies, though we are surrounded and threatened with hunger, we Germans will hold out. We will mobilize the last potato. Desperate to increase agricultural production, Germans plowed up churchyards, they plowed up school grounds, they plowed up forest glades, they even plowed up the soccer fields, which was telling. German soccer clubs went crazy about that. No, not the soccer fields. Think of the children. Didn't work. They plowed them up. We find that food shortages exacerbated class tensions. In cities like Karlsruhe, there were worker councils that complained that the parks and so-called luxury gardens in the more affluent neighborhoods weren't being used for cultivation. The response that they got was those were too shady to use to grow anything. The German government attempted to arbitrate inequalities with ration cards and price controls. Didn't work, just created a really vibrant black market. Regulations, though, did control every phase of agricultural production. But often it was bureaucratic clumsiness or short-sighted policies that resulted in food shortages. Here's an example for you. State officials, having determined that gluttonous pigs were competing with humans for grain, the government decreed the Great Pig Massacre, which claimed over 9 million victims. What this did was produce a momentary glut of pork, sausages every night, but did nothing to alleviate the grain shortage. More detrimental still was the death of all those little pigs did to the delicate ecology, that balance between humans and the natural world. Pigs were not only consumers of fodder, but also great producers of fertilizer. And their departure from the fields had dire long-term consequences.